Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Power of Persistence. This show is part of the Global Speakers Talk, a platform designed to bring together thought leaders, visionaries, and change makers from around the world. This isn't just a stage, it's a movement, a place where powerful ideas are shared, where voices that need to be finally heard are get their moment, and where meaningful conversations lead to real change. Now, today I want you to imagine something for a moment. You've set your sights on a goal, a dream so vivid that you could almost touch it. You take your first step, excited, determined, and then life happens. Obstacles emerge, setbacks shake your confidence, and the path forward becomes anything but clear. At this moment, many people stop. They turn back and they say, well, maybe this wasn't meant for me. But there's another kind of person, the one who keeps going no matter how rough the road gets. Well, let me tell you about a man who understood persistence better than most. His name was Harlan Sanders. You might know him better as Colonel Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. At 65 years old, when most people think about retirement, Sanders found himself facing rejection over 1,000 times. That's right, over 1,000 times. His fried chicken recipe, the one that later would become world famous, was turned down by over 1,000 restaurants before somebody finally said yes. Now, most people would have given up long before that, but Sanders, heck, he just kept knocking on doors, and then the next one and the next one, because he understood something fundamental, that persistence is not about talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's about refusing to quit when things don't go your way. So tonight we're here to celebrate that kind of relentless spirit, the kind that turns obstacles into stepping stones and failures into lessons and setbacks into comebacks. Our speakers today have faced challenges that would have made most people walk away, but they didn't. They stood firm, they adapted, they learned, and most importantly, they persisted. And that brings me to why we're here together and who I am. Hi, I'm JB Herrera. I'm the founder and CEO of Insight Driven Business. I've spent my career helping small business owners, solo entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers navigate the challenges that stand between them and success. Whether it's overcoming technology hurdles, refining strategies, or simply breaking through their mental roadblocks, the one thing I believe comes above all is that no one should have to quit because they don't have the right tools or guidance. And the biggest reason people give up, time. Not lack of passion, not lack of intelligence, but sheer exhaustion from doing everything themselves. And that's where the things that I do come in. See, persistence is about focusing your energy on what truly matters, on the things that create value, drive growth, and fulfill your mission. But if you're spending hours sorting through emails, analyzing spreadsheets, managing endless admin tasks, no matter how much energy you really have, how much energy will you have left for your dreams? And that's what I do. I help you get your time back. So I leverage AI to take those draining, time-consuming tasks off your plate so that you can focus on what you do best: building, creating, coaching, making an impact. Because persistence isn't about working yourself to the bone. It's about working smarter, not just harder. That's why this show means so much to me, because persistence isn't just an idea. It's the difference between those who wish for success and those who make it happen. So as you listen tonight, ask yourself these questions. What would persistence look like if I had more time? What could I accomplish if I stopped fighting the small battles and focused on the big vision? That's what this is about, the power of persistence. So let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Pearl Chiarenza. Pearl is a visionary, a mental fitness coach, acclaimed author, dynamic speaker, and transformative retreat facilitator who embodies the essence of persistence. She empowers women to break free from the trap of people-pleasing, teaching them to prioritize their own needs without guilt. Pearl's work is all about cultivating inner resilience, a relentless drive to silence that self-doubt and overcome internal saboteurs, enabling each woman to become the hero of her own life. And as the host and founder of Conversations with Pearl podcast, she inspires women to persist through life's challenges, emerging stronger, happier, empowered, and authentically radiant. Please give a warm welcome to Pearl Chiarenza. Welcome, Pearl.
Hi, thanks so much, JB, for having me here. I want to thank you for all your hard work you've been doing to put this together. And I'm so excited to kick this day off for everybody and to really ask you to grab your cup of tea, cup of coffee, sit back, get your notepad out, take some amazing notes from the speakers you're going to hear today, because we're going to take you on a great journey to becoming, as I call it, your hero of your life. And so I want to tell you a little bit about me. I'm a mental fitness life coach, author, and speaker, as you heard, but I'm also somebody who used to wear all my titles. You see, if you'd met me before and asked me who I was, I would have told you that my name is Pearl Chiarenza. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I do this volunteer work, all these things. And it hit me in 2015 on my journey when I was working just in helping clients with their health and wellness, that I wanted and needed to do something more. You see, my clients would come to me and they would be like, Pearl, I didn't stay on track with this program that I was doing. It was a very strict eating program. And I would be the person that would say, so tell me what was happening behind the emotion of choosing that cupcake or something that wasn't on the program. Where the person who was running the clinic, it was her clinic, would say, why would you do that? And my response was, I want to help people understand what's happening in our mindset. So as I was doing that, I started having my clients say, hey, could you talk to my friend Mary? Like, she doesn't need to lose weight, but you're so great at listening to what's happening and what's going on, and help me understand that it's not always about the desire to eat the cupcake. It's about, why do I want? What am I covering up? What emotion am I trying to soothe? And so as I was doing this, I started saying, sure, because I realized later on in life, I was a people pleaser. So I was going to say yes to anything my client asked me and anything my family or friends or would want to ask me. And so I sat in this course. I decided to take this course. If I was going to go on and become this life coach, I took this course called Identity and Destiny. And during this course, at the end of 6 weeks, we had to give our I am statement. And you see, my I am statement was still saying I was all the titles. I was a mom, wife, all these things. And a friend of mine who I met in the class said, wait a minute, like, where have you been for 6 weeks? Like, who are you? Who is Pearl? And I had to sit back and be like, oh my gosh, what have I done for 6 weeks? Where have I been? Am I not listening to what is happening? So I decided I really need to figure out who Pearl was. So in 2015, our oldest son, we sent off to college, and I was like, here's your gift. Dad and I worked really hard to get you here. Whatever you do with your life is now up to you. I had to come back and reconnect with my younger son, Nate, because you see, he was such an independent like me, go off and do things, start things on his own. And then once I did that, I decided I had to figure out who the heck I was. So I started to do this life audit. Like, what were the things that I was doing that was bringing me joy? I decided I needed to identify things that brought me joy. As I made this list, I realized I wasn't doing anything on the list that brought me joy. Instead, I was helping my friend do stuff at their house. I was showing up for volunteer opportunities. You probably could have asked me to help organize your sock drawer, and I probably would have said yes. So I decided I need to do something. I decided I need to go on this journey and figure out how to say no to things. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, so I was going to figure this out. So one day I was going off to a network meeting, and there was this beautiful rock on the ground. It just caught my eye for whatever reason. God put it there for me to look at it. I decided to pick it up and I put it in my pocket. I go into this event, and at the end of the event, somebody approaches me and says, hey, Pearl, I'm doing this fundraiser. It's all about animals and dogs and cats. And I was wondering if you could help me with it. All of a sudden, my hand, for whatever reason, I know looking back, it's a God moment, but went down across my pocket where I had that rock. And I felt that rock, and it became like this lightning bolt to go, no. And I literally just said it like that, like, no. And I was like, oh, wait. I didn't mean to say no like that. I meant to say, no, it's not something I can do for you. I love cats and dogs. I have them at home, but it's not a fundraiser that pours joy into my heart. However, I know somebody that might be able to help do that for you. So I refer them off to somebody. So when I went home that night, I decided that rock was put there for a reason. So I made a commitment to take that rock and move it 3 times during the day, saying no to something or someone. At the end of the day, I also made the commitment that if I had not said no to something or someone, I was going to either email, text, or call something or someone to say no to it. Listen, that wasn't easy, because as a people pleaser, I wanted to say yes to everything. I was really scared that people were not going to like me. They were going to say I was selfish. They were going to say that I didn't care, that I lacked empathy. And so I decided I really needed to do something. And as I was doing that, I just felt like in my heart that just keep saying no, Pearl, sort of like that movie, just keep swimming, right? Just keep saying no. I started realizing I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night anymore. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't email so-and-so. Oh my gosh, I didn't make this thing for my kids. I forgot to buy those cupcakes for the volunteer thing. So I realized I was becoming stronger in saying the word no. And as I became stronger and not waking up in the middle of the night, not worrying about who I was, not helping and how they were going to look at me, I started seeing I was less stressed and I was more happy in my life. Like happiness was coming into my life. And as that happened, I started realizing I was empowered to do more. I became empowered to not just do health coaching, but really go on this journey and step fully into the life coaching realm. I decided to share my story, speak on stages, just things like this that I'm doing today. I would have never done this like 10 years ago. I decided that I also needed to start writing books. And so I started being part of books. Today, I'm actually writing my own book that's going to get released on International Women's Day. And as I became empowered, I started walking into rooms and people would be like, Pearl, what's different about you? Like, have you cut your hair? Like, you look like you lost weight. I'm like, nope, it's just the power of the word no is what I kept telling myself. So I have what I call the radiant glow up. And then as that was happening, I realized I was really walking in the original person I wanted to be all my life. You see, as a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach elementary school. I wanted to empower minds of the young. But today I get to empower women who, like me, think that we have to show up for everybody else and we have to put ourselves last. We have to step into the understanding that the word no, you can say as happy as you say yes. So if you're watching this, or you are with us right now or watching a replay, I want you to yell at the top of your lungs the word no, so the person next to you can hear you, because saying no is a powerful sentence. And when you step into no, so many other things happen in your life. And I'm going to tell you that by my stepping into my Shiro self, it's opened up doors to me that I never thought. I became a retreat facilitator. I now hold annual retreats every year in September for women, where we show up in our PJs, no makeup on, and I get to watch women leave that retreat after they worked on their personal development to become that stronger person, to understand that that strength that we have to have putting ourselves first is so important, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know that if we don't learn to become happy in our life, that we're going to live a life of stress and unhappiness. And when that happens, we don't realize the empowerment that you have. Everybody has a story. Share your story to somebody, even if it's to your best friend, about how you've done something different in your life to make a change. Because then when you become empowered, then you're going to create your own radiant glow up. You're going to show up for your children, for your family, for all those that you care and love differently than you ever did before, because you are now overflowing your cup first. And then when that happens, you're going to realize you are walking the original life you want to. And you see, in 2022, that became very evident to me that if I had not done the steps I've been sharing with you so far, I don't know how I would have handled the most tragic thing that could ever happen to a parent. And that is that we lost our amazing oldest son, Matthew, in a tragic car accident. That loss, I can never tell you or put a word or emotion on how that feels. It's a club I would not want any parent to join me in. And I look back and I have a beautiful memory that I have with my son 2 days before he passed. Because you see, when I coach my women that I work with, I tell them, if you have littles at home, they're watching you. They're seeing everything you're saying and doing for yourself. So when you show up for not for yourself, or you tell them to go stand in the corner because mommy and daddy are talking or the adults are talking, you're actually setting them up for future things in their life that they think that maybe their voice isn't important. Maybe they shouldn't come first. My people pleasing started when I was in about 3rd grade, because I had to help take care of my siblings. So in 2022, when we lost our son, Matthew, 2 days prior, he was at our house. He was in the garage doing some stuff with my husband because they own a business together. And he's like, hey, Mom, can you throw me a bottle of water? So I threw the bottle of water across the room. And he picked up that bottle of water because I threw it, and he landed in his hands. And he's like, man, have you not only figured out who the heck you are, but now you have an arm? You see, he played football, and I could never throw him a football. But that day, I threw that bottle of water perfectly. And at that same moment, he was able to tell me how I have changed and how he sees a change and how proud he is of me. And 2 days later, when we lost our amazing son, Matthew, at 25 years old, I hold on to that memory. But I also hold on to the fact that I was able to figure out who the heck I was, that I was showing up for my kids. And I don't have regrets of not being there for things for him, like when their high school made the championships for the first time in like 10 years. When my son now, my younger son, who now is married, I show up for those things because I want to be there and I'm there 100%, not worrying about who I haven't helped today. And so if this is something that you understand or resonates with you, or you feel like everybody's pulling you every which way, I want to ask you this question. If tomorrow doesn't come and all we can say is what we saw you do for yourself because you're no longer with us on this amazing world, if 10 people that you know cannot say something different they saw you do for yourself, not the titles you did, not the things you did for them, but going and doing things, sitting on your front porch swing, maybe going for a walk, maybe you take a staycation like me and go to the beach, or maybe you sit down and watch an old movie with your kids, or you have a date night with your husband. Because self-care isn't selfish. You can do that with your family as well. If you cannot think of 10 things like that, I want you to know that I'm here for you, that you're not alone and you're not going to be the last one to go through this and you're not the first one to have to feel this way. But you can make a change because stepping into your hero self is understanding that you are grasping the word no to others and yes to yourself, that you are putting yourself first without guilt. And the beauty that comes from that is you get to do things that maybe you haven't done in a while. Maybe like me, you're going to stand here and come on a stage and share your story. Maybe you'll start a nonprofit. Maybe you'll start a business. Maybe you'll change somebody's life. Whatever that is, it's time for you to step into your hero self. And if you're ready to do that, I would love to invite you to come schedule a call with me. Let's talk about your mental fitness. Let's talk about those things that are showing up because maybe you're not just a people pleaser. Maybe you think you have to control everything. Maybe you think if it's not in your control, it's not going to work. Maybe you're a stickler about things that have to be done a certain way. There's all different things that our mental fitness shows up in our life because our mind is our best friend, but it's also our worst enemy. And we don't learn that we don't have to control everything, that we don't have to go after the next best thing, that we can sit and be with ourselves because you are an amazing person, because you are beautiful on the inside and the outside. And because you deserve to be the hero self that you are, I want to help you on that. So if you join me today on that journey, you'll have 10 weeks of coaching with me. You're going to get the opportunity to also have access to my membership club, which is our Shiro League, which is something that started through COVID, that I saw the need that many women felt like they couldn't get away and they were taking care of everybody and everything. So our Shiro League is there every Sunday evening. You'll get access to that. You'll get 2 extra bonus calls with me, just coaching and concentrating just on you. But at the end of the 10 weeks, you're going to have the journey to stepping into your Shiro self so that you can become stronger. You can become happier. You will be empowered. You'll be the radiant and original self you're supposed to be. So I appreciate your time and I appreciate you joining my journey. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pearl. Really appreciate the great insight, the pearl of wisdom, right? The power to say no. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I strongly encourage you to take I'm going to put this back up on the screen here really quickly. This is the link that Pearl was talking about. If you can take a copy of this and go to her website and take advantage of being able to speak with her, she frees you up to do the things that are most passionate, that fill you with your joy. So, Pearl, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
Okay, you too. Take care. All right. Thank you, Pearl, again. Now, some people talk about leadership and others embody it. Our next speaker is a global force for empowerment, a leader who has dedicated his life to inspiring greatness in others, not just through words, but through action. Dr. Jay Johnson is the commander of the Most Excellent Order of International Experts, a United Nations Peace Ambassador, and an international empowerment speaker whose impact spans across continents. As an award-winning speaker coach, he has helped leaders, visionaries, and changemakers find their voice and amplify their influence. He's been honored with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award, a testament to his unwavering persistence in shaping leaders who don't just dream of change, but create it. Dr. J believes that within every leader lies a legend waiting to be unleashed. And today, he's here to help you unlock that potential. Please join me in welcoming Dr. J Johnson. Dr. Johnson, how are you, sir?
I am absolutely phenomenal. How are you, JB?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, sir, for being here.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much for putting such an amazing event together with Anshu. And I tell you what, these leaders that is getting ready to speak before each and every one of you is going to be amazing. So make sure you have your pen and your pad so you can take copious notes, so you can take it all in. I have my pen and pad. I'm ready to take notes for the next speaker as well.
Let's make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, have you ever thought about, let's say you wanted to do something. You want to do something very, very big. And please forgive me, I have laryngitis, but I'm going to persevere. Have you ever wanted to do something very, very big? Let's say you want to become a speaker and you want to be on the biggest stages of the world, or you want to create a business and you just don't know how. Or maybe you wanted to I don't know, play a sport that you never played before, but something gets in the way. Fear gets in the way, doubt gets in the way, and all of these types of things that try to stop you from getting that done. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can actually get it done. And there's something that you need that's going to allow you to get it done much better than your talent, much better than your education, much better than all of the skill sets that you may have. There's one thing I'm going to share with you in a moment that's going to unlock you to unlimited amounts of success. I am His Excellency Ambassador Dr. J. Johnson, Commander of the Most Excellent Order of International Experts. And today, we're going to talk about this one thing that's going to unlock your future of success. And you have it in you. As a matter of fact, yes, you and you and you have it in you. It was born in you, and you have to make sure that you continue to exercise this one key element. But in a moment, I'm going to share with you 5 ingredients of this key element. What is that element? It is called persistence. That's right, persistence. That one key element is going to unlock the doors to all of your future. Persistence. You see, some people are extremely talented. They may have all the education in the world. There's a lot of educated fools out there who does not take anything, does not have persistence in what they're doing. They will not take the necessary steps to continue to go through the naysayers. And of course, we know there's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to doubt you. Of course, you may even start to doubt yourself. But I tell you what, when you understand persistence, you'll know that you're going to continue to persevere through every obstacle, every naysayer, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, no matter what's going on. You'll know for a fact that you're going to hit these goals. So I'm going to give you 5 key strategies, 5 ingredients of persistence, just 5, okay, that each and every one of you can do. Matter of fact, the first one is a set destination. Okay, please write that down. A set destination. Now, why do you have to have a set destination? Because if you don't know where you're going, of course, any road is going to lead you there. So we want to make sure that you actually have a set destination. Think about this for a second. You won't just get in the car and start driving aimlessly, would you? No, most of the time you know where you're going. You may not now always know the directions on how to get there, but that's why we have a GPS. We have a map. Someone is going to teach you or share with you different routes that you can take in order to get to your destination. So you don't necessarily have to know the route, but you just do have to know where you're going at least. Okay, so set a set destination, right? So also the number two is goal oriented. Goal oriented. See, I truly believe that goals are like targets. And the only way for you to see if you hit or miss is to look around the bullseye for holes. That way you can make the proper adjustments to find out, shall I go left? Shall I go right? Shall I go up? Shall I go down? Which direction should I take? Once you see that okay, I miss here, you can make some calculated adjustments. I'm talking about adjustments that's going to put you back on track. Even when you're driving, you notice when people are driving, they're doing something like this, they're adjusting, going left and right, left and right, left and right. So basically, you have to understand that when it's time to hit your goals, even if you're driving, you have to make these minor adjustments in order to drive straight. Can you imagine that? Same thing with your goals and your dreams, whatever that goal is. Let's say you want to climb this biggest mountain, but you want to start with a smaller mountain, accomplish and those smaller mountains, then you can get to the bigger mountains. Just like in school, we have first grade, we have second grade, we have third grade, Very rarely do we have people going from the 3rd grade to the 12th grade instantly. No, you go through step by step, step by step, step by step until you graduate from high school. Then you go off to college, right? So same thing here in your goals and your dreams. In order for you to conquer the biggest mountain, start with conquering the smaller mountains first, then go to the next one. So you can have the skill set, you can have the stamina, you're going to have the mindset, you have the willpower, you have the tools and the resources and all the things that you need in order to scale those mountains. So whatever mountain's in front of you, you're going to be able to do it, but you got to be persistent when you're doing it. Okay. So that's very, very key. All right. So if you think about Michael Jordan was extremely talented. Michael Jordan is one of my favorite basketball players. I don't know if he is for you, but he was one of the greatest basketball players on the planet. So if you think about all the other basketball players that were out there, they were professional basketball players. But Michael Jordan was an expert. Why? Because he conquered the fundamentals of basketball. And he became an expert in the fundamentals of basketball. He was not the most talented. I mean, he was not the most athletic, but he conquered the fundamentals and became very persistent in every area of the game. Therefore, he became an artist in the game. Next thing you know, he became the most paid and the most valuable player that ever touched the ball. You see, it's persistence that wins the game. It's not necessarily just a talent. It's persistence. You got to be persistent. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. Same thing with some of these other legends that you see that's out there. But those legends, the persistency is not necessarily stored up for those legends. It's stored up for each and every one of you. You must learn the ingredients of persistence. Okay, so you make sure when you set a goal, you set a game plan that's going to help you get to those goals. Sometimes you may hire a coach, a teacher, a mentor, someone that can actually help you get there. So if you want to be a speaker, be on the biggest stages of the world, you may hire a teacher, a coach, or mentor that can help you get there because they've been there. Okay. Now, understand also when you are going through your journey, it's the journey itself that is the success. It's not the destination. It's the journey that is the success. So when you learn to tell your story of getting to that destination, that alone right there is going to be extremely powerful for you as well. But you have to be persistent. You know, just like Pearl was saying earlier, she was telling her story all around the world. And I'm so glad that she said yes to this event. I'm so glad she didn't say no to this event because we would not get those pearls of nuggets that she just gave us as well. I hope you were writing. I hope you was writing those down because she actually shared a lot of wisdom. Okay. So think about when it comes to your goals and your dreams. You have a goal. Once you hit that goal, celebrate. Do something that's going to celebrate that minor victory. Celebrate the small wins, because when you celebrate those small wins, it's going to encourage you to go to the next goal so you can get another victory and then another victory. So pretty soon, you may have thought at one point that you was defeated on something. No, now you're victorious. You're putting victory over victory over victory over victory, and now you're no longer the victim. You're victorious. Okay. So the next one is determination. So that's the third ingredient, determination. Determination is so very, very important. I love determination because, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter who says no. It doesn't matter what they do, what they say. You have to have in your mind and make a decision that you want to make it, that you are the one that's going to make it, that you have the talent, you have the skill set, you have the resources, you have the tools, you have everything that you need in order to actually get to that goal. And you have to be determined that you're going to do it. I mean, naysayers, doesn't matter. No matter what's going on in life, you have all these things going on in life that's going to be trying to distract you from getting that goal, but you have to be determined that you're going to hit it no matter what. No matter what's going on, no matter who's in the White House, no matter who's what your boss is saying, no matter what the weather's like, none of that stuff matters, because you have to have what's called a laser focused mindset on accomplishing this goal and be so determined that you can create what's called a determined nation. Not just determination, but a determined nation, where there's a group of people that's supporting you in hitting that goal, making that dream happen, getting to those bigger stages, learning how to create your own signature talk, your own brand, or building that business, writing that book. And congratulations to you, Pearl, on writing that book. Congratulations. So some people may say, well, I have some ideas that I just want to keep these ideas down, but I definitely don't want to actually put any type of put any type of backing towards those ideas. Now, understand this. If you have an idea, back that idea with confidence. Confidence. Back your idea with confidence, okay? Now, why do I say this? Because if you have an idea and have no confidence behind it, you're not going to actually go forward through it or go to it. You're not going to get to it, okay? So you want to make sure that you back your ideas up with confidence. See, it's confidence that sells. I remember one time I had this idea, and this idea I saw from Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was doing Billie Jean. Y'all remember that? Billie Jean, he was walking on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk was lighting up under his feet. I thought to myself, man, that was so cool, right? And I thought to myself, I wonder if cars can do something like that. That would be really cool if cars could do that. So, but that would be very expensive to try to light up the street from underneath. So I'm like, well, what would be the solution for that? How about put lights on the bottom of the bottom of the cars, let it shine down onto the road? Ding, 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 ding. That was an idea, but I didn't back it up with confidence. I wasn't determined to get it out there. I didn't persevere to get it out there. I didn't use any type of persistence. I just told a couple of friends, and they was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Next thing you know, 2 years later, you see these Jeeps riding around with these neon lights and all these sports cars with neon lights, these big trucks with neon lights on there because someone else backed up that idea with confidence. Okay, so I'm encouraging you today to make sure that you back your ideas up with confidence and be persistent in getting that idea out there to the marketplace, because that idea could be the solution to someone's problems, but you have to have confidence in order to actually go through that. So persistence is key. So determination is one of the key values. Okay, now the other thing is resilience. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. This is another ingredient to persistence, resilience. Now, you know for a fact that anytime you do something, especially if you do something in the name of Christ, or shall I say in the nature of helping humanity, or doing anything that's going to actually help society become better, you're going to have a target on your back. You're going to have many targets on your back. And people are going to be throwing darts at you left and right. So one of my mentors, one of my former mentors, Mr. Jerry Clark, he was talking about the cow mentality and a rhino mentality. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this, okay? Now, cows are complacent animals. They sit in the cow pasture, and that's all they do is they eat grass. Moo. That's all they do is they eat grass, right? But a rhino cannot stay in the cow pasture. Even if you're a rhino in the cow pasture, you have a mindset of, you know what, I got to get out of here. I have to become an entrepreneur. I cannot stay in as an employee anymore. You know, you know too much to actually be out on your, too much to actually stay as an employee, but you don't know enough yet to be an entrepreneur just yet, or a business owner. And that's okay. You're still in a great place, but you have to have a rhino mentality, knowing that I can't stay here. I have to go through the swamp. I have to go through the jungle. I have to go through all of that mess in order to get to my entrepreneurship. Okay. So now, but the cows are going to sit up there and be like, why you want to leave? You haven't made here. Moo. Anybody seen Bessie? Bessie's gone. Bessie's been slaughtered, and you may be next if you continue to do the same thing a cow is doing, just sitting around waiting to be slaughtered. You see, but as a rhino, you know for a fact that you have to get out there into the swamp. Now, when you get out to the swamp, there's going to be leeches and alligators and crocodiles. There's going to be bears and even mankind would be throwing darts at you, bow and arrows, throwing darts. But you have to develop the thick skin, a thick enough skin, so those darts can actually bounce off of you, so you can withstand some of those attacks, so to speak. No matter who it is, no matter what it is, you want to be, whether it's taxes or it doesn't matter what that problem is that's going to try to tackle you and deter you or to distract you and take you out. Understand, when you have what's called resilience, that resilient skin set, that resilient thickness, and I'm not just talking about the flesh, I'm talking about the resilience in the mindset. The 6 inches between your ears, most people would travel around the world first before they travel the 6 inches between their ears. So you have to develop what's called a very, very strong, resilient mindset between your ears in the mind, so you can become a lot more resilient to all of those darts and those naysayers and all those type of things. So when you go through the swamp, yes, there may be a lot of attacks. So and you may go through the swamp and everything like that, and you may get some leeches, and it's all muddy and it's all nasty and it's foul, and it's just horrible. It smells so bad that you can't even breathe. I'm talking about getting to the other side. But once you get to the other side, though, oh my God, it's like paradise. It's beautiful. And it was designed for you. And see, all of that dirt, all of those scratches and scrapes and all that type of stuff can be washed off. It can be healed. You take a shower, you put all that stuff, all those scratches and scrapes can be healed. Can you imagine that? So now, what is your job to do? Your job now is to throw a big party. Yeah, celebrate that success, right? You made it through the jungle. You made it through the swamp. You became an entrepreneur. Guess what? You throw a big party. And now you're sitting on the balcony of your mansion. So, and you send limousines to all the people that said no. Yeah. You send limousines and black cars to all the people that said, you know what, this is not going to make it. You're not going to make it. This thing's not going to work. That idea is just not going to happen. Or you don't have the skill set. You don't have the mindset, whatever. All of those naysayers, you want to send limousines and bring them to your, they drive up to your big mansion. They open up the gate and they go around the big fountain of your estate, and they go into the living room area of your estate, and you just come out on the balcony, and you're overlooking everyone, and they're eating. There's music and everything like that. There's free champagne and everything like that. And you're saying to them, "Listen, I'm so glad that each and every one of you came today. I'm humbled and I'm honored by each and every one of you being here. Just know that all of the drinks and all of the food is on me. Okay, it's on me. So eat up, have a great time. And this is for all of you who told me no. All of you who said this wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to make it. This wasn't going to happen. All of you who said, you know what, that all of you who tried to deter me and try to take me back to the cow pasture. All of those who basically said that this was not even possible. This was a pyramid or whatever the case may be. I'm grateful for each and every one of you, because each and every one of you have to go back to work on Monday. Each and every one of you have to go back to your cow pastures to continue to moo and eat grass. But it was because of you that made me have a sense of determination and willpower and persistence that gave me the power to really, really get out there and make sure that this happened for me. Yes, I went through some ups and downs. I got beat down several times. I got talked about and cheated and chastised and all that type of stuff. But I fought through it all. And because I fought through it all, I became a champion. So I'm able to live this life like this. So for those of you who really want to live this life like this, then you have to go through those same type of ingredients. Set the destination, be goal-oriented, be determined, and have a sense of resilience. So I'm going to teach you exactly how to do all that. But in order for you to do that, you have to understand that persistence is key. Persistence is everything, right? Now, the last ingredient is beliefs. Beliefs. You have to believe that you are the one that can actually get it done. Not just me. It's not laid up for just me or for JB. It's laid up for you too. Okay. You are the one. Even if you may think to yourself, well, you know what? I don't feel like I'm good enough. That's just negative talk. I'm going to strongly encourage you to think about what you're thinking about. All of the negative thoughts, because most of the time, over 90% of the thoughts we think are negative. So I'm going to encourage you to start filtering out all of that negativity and start inquiring or inviting positive energy, positive thoughts, because an idle mind is a dangerous mind. It's kind of like the devil's playground. So you want to make sure that you just shove all that stuff away from your mindset. So think about what you're thinking about. What are you listening to? Are you watching the news at night? Because the news is kind of like a death report, right? And you don't want to invite that information. Matter of fact, that's negative information that you don't want to sleep on. But most people do. They'll go to sleep on the news. Then we wake up in the morning and they go ahead and watch the news again. So all during the night, it's soaking into your subconscious. Then you try to go fight traffic and all that type of stuff. And you wonder why you're not as happy as you should be. It's because you're constantly inviting negativity. Even when you go to work, you're asking people, what's wrong? Why invite that negativity? Instead, why not ask them something like, what's going well in your life? What's going well? They may start to think about, well, what's going well? And most of the time, they'll come up with negative stuff, even when you ask them what's going well, what's going right in their lives, because they're so accustomed to being around negative energy. But you're going to make the difference because you're not going to be negative. You're going to always have something positive to say, always have something empowering to say, always be in a position where you can see the greatness instead of all the doom and gloom. Okay. So now So what I'm saying here is that you have to believe that you are the one that can actually get it done. Now, there's four things that happens when it comes to beliefs. First thing is potential. Each and every one of you have potential. Okay, your potential is going to drive your beliefs. So the more potential you have, the more beliefs you have. The less potential you think you have, the less beliefs you'll have in them. So your beliefs is going to drive your actions. Your beliefs is going to drive your actions. Okay, then your actions is going to produce your results. Then your results is going to confirm your potential. So let's just think for a second. All of you have potential. Every one of you have potential. Yes, you. Yes, you too. Absolutely. You have potential to do anything that you want, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing, whether it's playing an instrument. You have potential to do it. Now, the question is, how much do you believe that you can actually get it done? If your beliefs is very, very small, and I don't think I can do it, it's not going to happen, then of course you're going to put very small, very few efforts into actually getting it done. So when that happens, your results is going to reflect the very few efforts. You're not going to get it done. And then because you didn't get it done, that's your result. Your result is going to confirm your potential. It's like, I told you I couldn't do it. And then what type of mood, what type of mindset does that put you in? Does it feel empowering? No. Why? Because you started with the wrong beliefs. Now, what if you increase your beliefs and say, well, you know what? Anything is possible. I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm going to find a way to get it done. That's persistent. I'm going to find a way to get it done. I don't have the talent or the skill set, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a coach, a teacher, a mentor that's going to help me get it done. And then you start learning how to get it done. Okay. So when your beliefs is high, then of course your action is going to be high. So now you're going to put in massive action. When you have massive action, guess what happens? You produce massive results. And those results is going to confirm your potential. I told you I can do it. I told you I'm a stud. I got it done. Why? Because your beliefs are in the right place. So make sure when you are doing anything, when you're going towards any goal, you understand the ingredients of persistence. Set a destination of where you want to go. You're goal oriented, setting a course of action of what do I need to accomplish in order to get there. Then you want to be determined that you are going to make it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to make it happen. And then you have to be resilient because everything is going to try to stop you. Be resilient, push through it. And then, of course, your beliefs have to be skyrocketed. And when they are, you will have success. You will have success. So if you like that and you want to have more on your signature talk, if you have a signature talk that you want to do, for speakers that are out there, if you want to turn your message into a program, then I'm the person that you want to talk to. I work with people like the Les Browns and the Robert Kiyosaki's and people like that. I can work with you as well to help you get what's called a signature talk. As a matter of fact, I'm offering right now what's called a signature talk experience. This is a class that I'm teaching right now, and it's going to be March 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's going to be here in Clearwater. We're going to have a phenomenal time, but also what we're going to do is going to share with you the 5 key elements that I use today. Intro, story, problem, solution, call to action. The 5 key elements that every presenter, every speaker should learn and should know, because it works in anything, any advertising, it works in any type of speech that you're going to give. Intro, story, problem, solution, call to action. So you're going to learn those key elements. Then you want to actually produce. You're going to tell your story. You're also going to not only write your story, you're going to come up with some valuable points that people can actually grow from. And you're going to grade each other. And when you grade each other, someone is going to win cash prizes. They're also going to win a chance to be one-on-one with me. And also they're going to be on Limitless TV and have an opportunity to get a TED Talk. So if you ever thought about getting a TED Talk, I can show you how to do that. I have a partnership with TED as well. Okay, so just go to jjohnson360.com, click on the ticket. You'll learn a little bit more about Signature Talk Experience, or you can actually book an appointment with me to see if this is a good fit for you. Okay, so for those of you who really want to take action now. For those of you who want to elevate your game now. Get it done. Don't let procrastination stop you, because procrastination is our arrogant assumption that God owes you another opportunity to do what you had time to do today. Let's get it done. Go, go, go. Turn this call back over to you, Mr. JB.
I am so fired up. I can't even tell you, Dr. J. It was awesome. I appreciate it. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm going to reiterate what Dr. J has just said. You need to take action. See the little link that's going right there, jjohnson360.com. Press the link. Get there. Take action today. It's what we talked about. Persistence is really interesting. When you think about all the elements that Dr. J has talked about just now, taking action has to happen. You can think about persistence, but unless you take action, it's not going to happen. You won't be able to get through the swamp. You're not going to develop the thick skin. You're going to be little Bessie sitting up in the hill as a cow mooing, right? We don't want you to do that.
Moo.
Yeah, this is kind of funny, actually. You know what? I actually have one of these little things here. Okay, no mooing. Let's make this happen, folks. All right? Dr. J, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, JP.
Blessings to you and to get people go. Dr. J. Johnson, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, everybody. Wow, I'm fired up, and I know our next speaker is going to be fired up too. And he's going to tell you success is rarely a straight line. It twists, turns, and often tests us in ways we never expected. And our next speaker knows the truth firsthand, not from theory, but from experience. Coach Romani's journey has been anything but a fairy tale. Hardships, setbacks, and challenges have shaped him, but they have never defined him. Instead, he's used every obstacle as a lesson, every failure as fuel, and every success as a stepping stone to something greater. Today, he takes that wisdom and shares it with others, equipping them with a mindset and strategies to navigate their own unpredictable paths to success. His approach is real, practical, and grounded in both triumphs and mistakes, because growth isn't about having a perfect journey. It's about having the persistence to keep going no matter what. Please welcome Coach Nigel Romani. Coach Romani, welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Super excited to be here today. Persistence, keep on going. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. I absolutely love those two opening lines from Marianne Williamson's poem. Now, a lot of you know it became famous during the Coach Carter movie starring Samuel L. Jackson. Just watched it again last night. But to me, that is so, it resonates with me because it talks about the value of being different, the value of standing out from the crowd, not being a cow, but a rhino, as Jay would say, not being afraid to step out. Now, earlier you heard Jay talk about the power of Michael Jordan and how he was willing to be persistent. But a couple other things Michael had in common with a couple other folks like Kobe Bryant, Billy Gates, Steve Jobs, Walt Disney. They had the willingness to be different. Let me repeat that. The willingness to be different. And that's what makes them great. Absolutely phenomenal. I want you to think about what your world, our world, would be like without Walt Disney. Pretty boring, eh? That creativity just gone. No Magic Kingdom. No Mulan and everything else in the world. Wow. What about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates? Many of us right now are watching this on our computers or our phones. Not possible without Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. It's because of their differences. Now, for me, my personal journey to be different has always been there, but it really hit home back in March 2020. That's when it all started for me, my recent journey. See, Mom had breast cancer. She fought that like a beast for 20 years, but it came back in the form of liver cancer. So we put her in the hospital. And as we all know, March 2020 was COVID. So restrictions were in place. So being the local son, being in town, I was the one designated as the sole visitor. At first, it felt like a hardship, but it was a blessing, an absolute blessing. Got to be with Mom during her last couple months. We eventually brought her home. so my family and I could take care of her, make her comfortable during her last couple of months. But what a blessing to be with my mom for those last couple of months. Then right after that, she passed in May. Dad diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia. So we put him in a retirement home. Once again, COVID's still going on. Still sole visitor. But man, the time I got to spend with Dad, visiting him 4 or 5 times a week for an hour or two at a time, just talking in his own world sometimes, but it was awesome. Once again, a blessing, not a curse. Dad passed a year and 10 days after Mom. After spending those 2 long years taking care of both of them, I was like, wow, what do I do now? And my eldest daughter, they're all wise, said to me, Dad, why don't you take care of yourself? I said, wow, that's a great idea. Because at that point, I could have easily, very easily, gone into a deep depression and mourned the loss of 2 great people in my life. But I decided to do something different. Decided to take care of myself. Met with a trainer. She changed the way I eat, changed the way I work out, changed the way I train, changed everything about me. And I am so thankful for that, because that changed my life. It changed the way I think, changed the way I eat, just changed about everything in my life. And it was during that time that I learned the process to be great. I've always talked about it. I've always read about it, but I was actually able to live greatness. I was able to go through that process of greatness. But coach, what's that process? It comes down to a couple steps: acceptance/awareness, action, and accountability. Now, we all know about action, because action gets the glory, and rightfully so it should. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the other ones for just a little moment. Acceptance and awareness. Coach Jay nailed it quite nicely when he said, when you get in the car, you have to know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to go nowhere very, very fast. So you have to be aware of where you're going. But you have to be aware of where you are in your life situation, and aware of what change you want to make. You have to be willing to accept that you need to make a change. You have to be willing to accept help to make that change. That is so crucial. Accepting the help, accepting the fact that you need to change, accepting the help. I'm a big advocate of accepting who we are as people. I'm totally for that. However, I think that sometimes we take that a little bit too far, in that we accept our situation for what it is. The worst lines in the world are, it is what it is, and that's the way it's always been. It doesn't have to be that way. You can accept your situation, but don't settle for your situation. Let me repeat that one. You can accept your situation, but don't settle for your situation. Go ahead and make that change. Action. That's where the grit and the glory happens. That's where you got to get down and get dirty. Let me tell you something about action before we even get started. Action, true success, it's not sexy. Let me repeat. True success is not sexy. It's dirty. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to work hard in the dark, so when the lights are shining, you're shining bright. But you can't do the work alone sometimes. You need someone to help you with that process, whether it's a GPS in the car, not always personal, or that coach, that teacher, that mentor, that consultant. They're going to help you map out the process to do the work. I've always been a hard worker. I've always done the grind. But so often I would do the grind on a hamster wheel. It wasn't until I was able to sit down with a coach who taught me the proper process, so I was able to get off the hamster wheel and start making progress. You've got to work with someone who knows what they're doing, someone who's been there before and helped others help themselves. You accept the fact that you're willing to work with others and get that action going, oh, you're going to start seeing that progress. Things are going to start to happen. The train's going to start moving. Woo! Okay? But it's going to come a point where you're going to have to say, well, how am I doing? That's where accountability comes into play. I'm not going to talk a lot about action, as I mentioned. I could talk about action for like 30 minutes, but I want to talk a little bit more in depth about accountability, because that's where things really change. Accountability comes in many different forms for many different people. As a business owner, your business partner's going to hold you accountable. Your staff's going to hold you accountable. Your customers are going to hold you accountable. You're going to hold yourself accountable. You're going to look in the mirror and say, yeah, that was a great day. Or you look in the mirror in the morning and say, yeah, it's going to be a great day. Hold yourself accountable, as well as other people holding you accountable. Before we talk about others, let's talk about what you're looking at when you're holding yourself accountable. Anybody who's in math or a teacher like myself, we're going to be able to tell you that numbers tell a great story. But the question is, what numbers are you looking at? Those of us in the gym, we hit the gym and we always step on the scale, because that's what we do. But it's not all about the pounds, because there are guys in the gym who are a couple inches shorter than me and weigh 20, 30 pounds more than me. But man, they are lean, because the true numbers, when you get to a certain point, goes beyond the pounds, goes to the body fat percentage. And that's where the numbers need to make a point. If you're on social media, it's more than just the likes. It's about the engagements, about the shares. So make sure you're looking at the right numbers. As a teacher and a coach, I'm held accountable by the parents of my students, the parents of my players. And that can make a big difference in your life. Quick story. Last year we had a game, and I really wanted this W for the girls. Perhaps I wanted it too much. Because after the game, one of the parents sent me a quick note and said, Coach, what are you doing? You're ruining this poor girl's confidence. I said, what do you mean? So I looked back at the game film, and I realized that I played two girls way, way less than they should have played. Way less than they usually play. And one girl way too much. So I had to do something about it. I could have easily just said, okay, I won't do it again, and let that parent know that. Took it a step further. Went to my players, because I'm also accountable to them. I said, ladies, Coach had his head up his backside yesterday. Playing time was way off. Won't happen again. And I'm going to fix it. Sure enough, 3 weeks later, two girls who didn't play a lot were dramatic influences on us winning the final game of the year. All because that one parent held me accountable. And to this day, I am thankful for her holding me accountable, because we have to be held accountable. Once you're held accountable, you can make the adjustments. You can be aware of where you are. You can go back to the actions and then become accountable again. Like I said, it's all a process. Everything works together. In the fitness biz, we say you can't out-train a bad diet, because it all has to work together. Now, I'd be neglectful if I didn't mention a couple quick things. First of all, on your journey or whatever quest you are on, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, but you got to be persistent. As Dr. J said, you got to be persistent. That's what this whole talks are about. Persistence. Keep going. Because when things are tough, that's when your toughness is going to keep you going. And your why and your passion keeps you going. You're also going to look around at other people. You're going to see them doing this and doing that. I'm going to tell you, do not judge your success by the success level of others. The moment you do that, you are setting yourself up for failure. Look at them, see what they're doing, but don't compare. Use them as inspiration. Look at them and say, wow, look how hard they're working. I can do that. Or look how hard they're working and they're making gains. I can do that too. Or in some cases, you can look at someone who's successful. You're going to say, really? I can do that. No, I can't do that. I can do it better. Use them as inspiration for you to be better. Now, you can find a lot more details about the process to greatness in my book called Be Different, Be Great, The Process to Personal Greatness, available on Amazon. I also do in-person presentations for the youth of the school. But whatever you do, whatever your quest is, because everybody has their own level of success. Once again, I get to go on talking about that forever. Everybody has their own level of success. I want you to find out what your level of success is. Be truly authentic to who you are. You do that, you have the beliefs in place, you're going to be fine. Most importantly, if you do nothing else, I want you to be different, be great, because that's what it's all about. Because folks, you got this. You can make a change. Don't settle. Thank you, JB.
Oh, my pleasure. Coach Nigel Romani, thank you so much for being here. I really learned an awful lot from what you were just talking about. I mean, when you think about those three elements, right? Acceptance, action, but most importantly, accountability. I'd never really thought about it from that perspective. So I'm going to be going back and looking and seeing how I can apply that to what I do and how I do things. So thank you for that insight, Coach. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Accountability is a game changer.
Absolutely. So, okay, everybody, see the link that's going right across the screen right now? Click it. Buy the book. Get the insights that Coach Romani has talked about today, because these are really the key insights that when you start to apply them are going to make a fundamental difference in everything. And I'll make a commitment to everybody right here, right now. You can hold me accountable to this. This time next year, it's a completely different scenario in terms of what I'm doing in my business, simply because I want you guys to hold me accountable as well. So Coach Romani, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and energy. And everybody, take a look, go down to Amazon, buy that book. All right. Thanks, Coach. Well, now we're going to move on, because every great movement, every breakthrough, every act of leadership begins with one thing: a story. And our next speaker is a master at helping people discover, shape, and share theirs. David Swihart has dedicated his life to helping individuals and organizations find their voice, connect with their audience, and create lasting impact. With experience spanning nonprofit, corporate, and faith communities, he brings a unique blend of wisdom, strategy, and heart to every stage he steps on. As a pastor, speaker, trainer, and coach, David understands that success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you harness the collective genius of your team and align your vision with purpose. Because persistence isn't just about pushing it forward alone, it's about inspiring those around you to rise together. And he's here to help you do just that. Please join me in welcoming David Swihart. David, welcome.
Hey, thanks, JB. It's great to be here. And wow, what a privilege to be speaking together with these incredible thought leaders here today. And today I'm excited because listen to Pearl talk about, how do we say no to the wrong things so we can say yes to the right things? How do we just embrace persistence as Dr. J brought to us? And how do we make sure that we're moving forward and keeping ourselves accountable, like Coach Nigel just said? And yeah, those are all incredible principles. And I'm just excited to talk to you a little bit today. I wonder how many of you guys are like me, that you've seen persistence in your life in places where maybe they didn't matter. I remember my first Nintendo. I was back in the 80s, and I was a couple of years behind everybody else. And I got this Nintendo, and my mom and dad decided that I could only get a new game if I beat the first game. So in order to get another game, I had to beat the other game. So I spent all my time trying to beat the game. And of course, the first game I got was Super Mario Brothers. So I had to figure out how to get through each level and get to level 8 and beat level 8. And I played for hours and hours and hours. And my full focus for months trying to beat this silly game. I talked to my friends, how do you beat this level? How do you beat that level? I have to practice, and I couldn't make the jumps, and I couldn't do this. Well, pretty soon I got better and better and better. But it started putting this persistence in me that I had to do this thing and to beat it. But then I got really good at video games and didn't get really good at other areas. And I was thinking about this actually just a couple months ago, about the beginning of August. And I realized I wasn't persisting in my business. I wasn't persisting in my life. And it took me back to a time I was sitting in front of John Maxwell. And John Maxwell asked a question that haunted me for months and still haunts me because I have to ask the question. It's the question of, how do we present ourselves? How are we doing what we're supposed to do? And he asked this question. And I ask you today, are you going to work for it or are you going to wing it? Are you going to wing it or are you going to work for it? And I realized most of my life I've winged it. I have spent so much time winging it. So I decided I need to get serious. And so I decided I was going to do the 75 Hard program. Now, if you're not familiar with 75 Hard, it was developed for the purpose of mental resiliency. And mental resiliency is a critical part of persistence. And so I decided I was going to do this. It's 75 straight days where you have to do these things. You have to drink a gallon of water every day. You have to do 2 45-minute workouts every single day. One of those workouts has to be outside regardless of the weather, regardless of the conditions, regardless of whatever else is going on. You have to do both of those workouts. You have to follow a diet of your choosing, no cheat meals, no alcohol, and you have to take a selfie every single day so you see your progress. See, most people aren't persistent because they never see the progress. They start down a road and they never get there. And so I did the 75-day hard, and I went through it. I made it through. I didn't have any days I missed. I made it through first try. I'm really proud of myself. That's persistence, David. Well, then this challenge came up and said, well, are you ready for phase 1? Phase 1? What's phase 1? I did 75 hard. It's 30 more days of 75 hard, only you have to add 3 more things. 8 critical tasks done every single day, a cold shower, and a 10-minute visualization. And you know what the worst part of that whole thing was? The cold shower. As a matter of fact, I said I will refuse to go to bed before my 8 tasks are done because I am not taking more than 30 cold showers, period. And so I did it in 30 straight days. But I thought that was really hard until they said, David, you can't do this again until you take 30 days off. And 75 hard was pretty easy comparatively. Phase 1 was hard, but it wasn't too bad. The 30 days between phase 1 and phase 2, oh my goodness, they were the worst ever because I didn't have a checklist. I didn't have the goals to keep moving through. And I realized I was not very disciplined during that time. I broke my diet, I broke my exercise routine, and it was really hard to jump back in phase 2. As a matter of fact, I actually messed up on day 15 of 30 in phase 2 and had to start over. I'm on day 22 right now, doing the same things, trying to keep myself on a level of persistence. And I wonder what it's going to take for you to be persistent. I wonder what it's going to take. And, you know, repetition is the mother of wisdom. You're going to hear several things that are going to cross between all of our talks today. But I want to give you what it's going to take to get you where you want to go. Because, you know, I believe that you have a message that needs to be shared. I believe that you have an audience that's waiting for you. And I believe that you have a platform that is going to allow you to present your message to your audience. And I love maps, but nobody uses a map anymore. As a matter of fact, very few people use a map unless you're in a building trying to figure out where to go in the building. But how do you get to that building where you want to be, or you want to be operating? Use GPS. That's what we use. And so I want to give you GPS today. So you're taking notes, which I encourage you to do. I want you to write down the GPS because that's going to be our acrostic for what we're going to work through today. And the first thing we need to do if we're going to get where we want to be is we have to get clear on where we are and where we want to be. That's right. We got to get clear on where we are and where we want to be. So if you're going to get clear, you have to ask yourself the questions. Where am I really? Now, this is not for a time for us to lie and say, oh, we're a little bit further than I think we are. I mean, I play basketball at the Y every single week. And every week, I watch guys who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. We've got a guy in their 80s playing basketball. Okay, talk about persistence, right? And I watch guys who still somehow think there's an NBA scout coming to the YMCA to recruit them to play basketball. Let's get clear. None of us who are playing basketball at the YMCA have much of a chance of ever getting anywhere in our basketball game. We're there to have fun, to stay fit, and to have a good time. This is not the NBA tryouts. The thing is, you have to get honest with yourself, and that's going to take a lot of process. You're going to have to go through assessments. You need to take DISC assessments. You need to take Taylor Johnson assessments. You need to take all of these assessments to figure out who you are and how you're wired. You're going to need coaches to help you think through where you want to go. You're going to need mentors who've been where you want to go and can help you along the way. You're going to need counselors because you've got junk in your past that you haven't dealt with that you need to deal with. And you just need to get clear on where you are, because only then you figure out where you want to go. The first step is get clear on where you are and where you want to go. The second thing that you need to do is you need to point yourself in the right direction. Now notice, we're not taking any action yet, right? We talk about action, just like Coach Nigel said. We need to talk about action all day long. But we need to point ourselves in the right direction first. Now, if you ever use GPS in a parking lot, one of those big parking lots, and the GPS car doesn't go around the parking lot, so it doesn't know how to get you out of the parking lot. And so it says something like this: proceed to the route. Proceed to the route. So you have to figure out how to get out of the parking lot to figure out how to get to the route so the GPS can actually get you where you are. And see, this is why we have to point ourselves in the right direction. See, when I first started my business, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought that I would just start working with teenagers. That's what I was doing at the time. I was a youth minister. And so I was like, I will speak to youth and schools, and I will be a motivational, inspirational speaker. I will get them out to where they want to go. I wasn't where I needed to be, and I didn't realize that I hadn't done all the work I needed to do to get myself going in the right direction, to help me find what I'm the best at. And see, that's where I shine, because what I love to work with people is I love to help them get clear on what their message is. But I realize that there's so many people who are stuck in their heads that they're not even able to point themselves in the right direction. Their compass is spinning around and around and around, and they're trying everything, and they're doing it all halfway. They're not getting where they want to go because they try this, and they go here. They stop doing that, and they go to another place. They stop doing that, and they go to another place. And that's my whole life. I started out to write a book 20 years ago. Didn't even get past the table of contents. I started pursuing speaking. Never even got on stage 10 years ago when I started. I started all of these different ideas, and I never kept going. This is a point where we're just sitting there going, how do we get where we want to go? So we have to sit long enough to point ourselves in the right direction so that when we actually start moving, we're ready to go, and we start walking the right direction. So you get clear on where you want to be, and get clear on who you are and where you want to be. You point yourself in the right direction. Then, and only then, do you start moving. Because here's what I know, is the path you start along is not the path you're going to end on, okay? I love the picture it is a walk in the woods. You start along this path, and you start going in a direction. You think you're going in the best direction you could possibly go. And all of a sudden, as you're walking, you come along another path. You get to that path, and you go, I didn't even know this path existed. You kind of look down a little bit. You kind of get a little feel for it. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to try this path. Start walking down that path and find another path. And this path starts taking you into an area that you never even knew could exist, beauty that you've never seen before, things you never could have imagined, which leads you to another path, takes you to another unseen thing. And you sit and you wonder, I wonder how many people have actually ever seen this. And in that place, it's our journey. Because if I hadn't started out wanting to speak to youth, I wouldn't have joined the John Maxwell team. If I hadn't joined the John Maxwell team, I wouldn't have found coaching. If I am coaching, I would have found my love for building teams. And if I hadn't found my love for building teams, I would have found my love for facilitating and training. If I hadn't found that, I wanted to realize that there's a lot of people who can be helped, because if I help people who do the same things I do, then all of a sudden I'm expanding myself beyond my limits. I can't help every single person I run across, but I can help people who are going to help people who are going to help people. It becomes exponential. And I wonder, when you start moving in your direction, after you've gotten clear, after you point yourself in that right direction, as you start making steps in that direction, I wonder who you're going to help. I wonder who your message is going to bless. I wonder who your audience is that's going to hear your message. They're going to run with it. They're going to be challenged by it. And that's why I love to work with people who are ready to get their message out there. Now, a lot of people think that I'm just a keynote speaker and a keynote developer. I love to help you with keynote. I love to help you figure out how you're going to communicate that keynote to people that need to hear it. Because every audience is different. Every audience needs to hear different points. Every audience needs to know your story. Not every audience needs to hear your story. But here's the thing. I want to work with you. I want to help you get where you want to go. I want to get in front of your audience. Now, if your audience is a crowd, a stadium full of people, I want to get you there. If your audience is one person at a time, sitting over coffee in a Starbucks or over Zoom, I want to help you get there. And I want you to communicate that message so clearly, so crisply, that your audience hears it and benefits. Now, if you want to work with me, I'd love to have a call with you, because I only work with a select few people at a time. I want to give you maximum exposure to what you need to do. I want to focus on you. So you can click on this link. It's going to be bit.ly, and you have to put all these in capitals, okay, because it's sensitive, but it's capital U, capital Y, capital V, capital S, and IGN, capital UP. So unleash your voice, sign up. I want you to unleash your voice. Now, I've got so many clients that had such incredible time. I want to tell you one story. And when I started working with this client, I wasn't quite sure where we were going to go. They've been on stages. They've been on big stages. And we started talking. The problem was the impact where stage had been weren't where they wanted to be. They had a different message they wanted to share. And so we started talking about that message. In the first couple of meetings, we started part of the keynote together. We had some great ideas about the presentation, about the language. We had some great ideas about how to present it. It wasn't until one time I got vulnerable. I said, David, I have done this every single year for the last 30 or 40 years. I heard it. I said, oh my gosh, that's it. That is the thing. You can help people do that. All of a sudden, once we got that clear, that became a retreat. That retreat clear, it became crystal clear. And once we got the keynote crystal clear, that client is ready to go share it. She's sharing it with every single person she runs across, her friends, her family, her small group. Everywhere she can share it, she is sharing it. And I want you to be able to do the same thing. Because I know you have a message that needs to be heard, an audience that needs to hear it, and a platform that's waiting for you to get on it. Are you ready to unleash your voice? Guys, thank you so much, JB. It's a privilege to be here.
David, thank you so much. I appreciate your wisdom and your strength here. Everybody has a voice. The real question is, are you going to be persistent enough to take something that David is offering? Like, he mentioned the 75-day hard challenge. Understand your GPS, right? Really figure out those components and that will enable you to be the success that you're destined to be if you allow that to come out. But you need to have someone to guide you. So I strongly urge everybody, take a look at the link. You'll see it in the notes, you'll see it in the chat, you'll see it across the screen. Take action now. Make sure that you can actually implement the wisdom that David is offering you today. David, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
My privilege, JB. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, and again, leadership isn't just about titles. It's about resilience, adaptability, and it's also about, well, let's see, hang on a sec there. Got that. Okay. It's also about the ability to inspire others to rise. And our next speaker has spent over 2 decades helping other leaders do exactly that. Chantel Murphy is a sought-after leadership speaker and executive coach. She's transformed the way professionals lead, grow, and succeed. Armed with more than 15 coaching certifications and deep corporate experience, she brings not just expertise, but a fresh, strategic, and results-driven approach to leadership development. She understands that persistence isn't just about pushing forward, it's about leading with clarity, purpose, and the unshakable belief that challenges are opportunities in disguise. So today she's here to help you unlock the next level of your leadership potential. Please welcome Chantel Murphy. Chantel, welcome.
Hi, JB. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I would like to say, just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just imagine a place where mostly everybody had their own business. If everybody had their own business, people are now, they're going to work for themselves. People are now waking up, going in the living room, going in the kitchen, and they are just going in for themselves. They have their own business plan, they have their own mission statement, and they are just ready to just unleash this business onto the economy. Imagine everybody having their own business where now there's help wanted signs everywhere. Everyone's looking for somebody to work for them because everybody now has their own business. Now we have job boards filled with all these vacancies, and AI, of course, is now taking over. They are now in those seats taking over those abandoned jobs. Well, guess what? It'll never be like that because everybody is not able to have that entrepreneurial spirit. It takes persistence, perseverance, bravery, boldness to be that entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are definitely the foundation of the economy, but very few people have that skill. So it would never be a point in time where everybody has their own business because everybody does not have that unique skill set to become an entrepreneur. So the thing about it is that when I first work with individuals, I ask them, who are you going to serve in your business? As an entrepreneur, it's important to get clear about who you're going to provide that servitude for. Who's going to be your customer? Who's going to be your customer now? And then who's going to be your customer in the future? What does your team look like? You want to have a vision that's definitely bigger than you. Because if your vision is just about getting money, money is not going to get it. People quit all the time. I've seen people quit 6-figure, 7-figure jobs, and it's not because that they didn't like the money, they just didn't like the job. It just didn't fulfill them. So it has to be more of an intrinsic factor when you're doing these things. I see people quit all the time, and they quit for various reasons. So when you start something, you want to be clear on why you are getting yourself involved with that. As you're hiring your team, you want your team to be really invested in that so that they can have some type of camaraderie within that, knowing that they're going to work every single day to serve a purpose that's actually greater than them. A lot of individuals, when they first come into entrepreneurship, they're like, I know that most businesses fail within the first year, and I don't want to be that statistic. And I always tell them, I don't want you to be that statistic either, but we have to be very clear. It's not the business that fails in the first year. It's the individuals themselves that fail. Let's break that down. They have a great idea. They have a good concept. Either they have a wonderful product or an excellent service. This is something that the economy needs. This is actually a gem to society. And this is something that can definitely be utilized, taking the appropriate steps. But it's the entrepreneur themselves that gets burnt out. They get tired. They get frustrated with getting those no's. They get frustrated with not maybe getting that funding. They get overwhelmed with all of the hats that they're now wearing. Because when you are an entrepreneur, you're coming from corporate where there's all these systems in place, and you can go down the hall to HR, you can talk to the CFO, you can talk to your executive assistant. And now all of those departments are now housed within yourself. So it does take some time being able to juggle all those facets, and it can be overwhelming. It's not easy. Like I said at the beginning, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but it's not. So it's all about being diplomatic with yourself, finding that balance so that you are able to do these things. So when you do find that balance and you do have that persistence, that pushes you past that 1 year benchmark that a lot of people are not able to do. So it's not the business that fails, it's us that fail. We quit. Say, I tap out. I've had enough. This is too much disappointment. This is too many no's. I'm getting judged. I'm getting this. I'm getting that. It becomes overwhelming. So you want to be able to have a system in place where you are taking that time out for yourself. You are not maybe wearing all these hats, but you have a team that's working with you. Maybe if that's your spouse or some friends, but just to get you revved up so that you can get through that 1 year time frame. And you have to understand that the business that we have right now, it is a battlefield. There are a lot of competitors, and what you will not do today, your competition will do tomorrow. So you really want to make sure that you are the first one to the dance. You want to make sure that you have a good concept, a good idea, because on this battlefield, there are no participation awards. There's no thanks for playing. You really have to be able to come out with a bang. And I think that that's very important. And one of those ways to come out with a bang is definitely by being unique. A lot of people, they quit, and they quit because they're copying somebody else, and they can't keep up that persona of copying somebody else. I know when I first started coaching, I thought it would be a good thing to follow the group coaching as a lot of other coaches were doing. And easily I realized that that was not going to work for me or for the individuals that I wanted to serve. So as soon as my group coaching started, that was as soon as it ended. And that was one of the times when I really realized that I have to stay true to my own identity, because who I am, that is what's going to be my story. Everybody has their unique story on captivating their clients, on even retaining their talent. So you want to be sure that you are being unique to yourself, because nobody else can do that. And if they do copy you, they can only copy you for so long because it's not something sustainable. So when you do talk about being persistent, you're not going to give up on yourself. So you always want to be able to hold that grace to yourself by having your unique voice. And when you do have that unique voice, that's what's going to keep you in the game. That's very important. One of the most attractivest traits for a leader is for them to have persistence. They always talk about leaders having vision. And the thing about vision is it's not just looking or seeing, it's having that sight to envision the future. When you do have that sight to envision the future, I need you to take it a step forward and have that adaptability for the future that you envision. If you envision better technology, or if you envision changing the location of your business, make that a priority so that you not only see the vision, but you're able to thrive in that vision. And you don't want to be able to see something coming ahead and you're not prepared for it, because what will happen? Then you will end up quitting because you're not prepared. You're not prepared. Your competition has beat you to the mark. When we talk about persistence, it's not just a quick race, it's a marathon. It's how we breathe and we condition ourselves for it. One of the best ways I like to condition some of my clients so that they're able to be persistent is I offer a 21-day hustle challenge. The whole premise of the hustle challenge is this, is a lot of us, we might be working out, or we're moving some things, or we're just going about our daily lives, our daily routine. And then our body is telling us that we're tired. So we just take a break. But that's not the case. Like Navy SEALs, they have this mindset where they keep going. They keep going no matter what. And that's the mindset that I want for you guys to be able to foster today. And that's within the 21-day hustle challenge. So you wake up a little bit early every day, you do a slight workout. You wake up during this workout and you identify, who can I serve today? Who can I provide servitude to? Extending a way of being thoughtful and being humble. If you have an idea or even a random thought, put that down on a piece of paper and then take 5 actions within the next 2 days to start getting that implemented. If you hear your team, they have a good idea, don't ignore it. Let them tackle that idea. Put them in charge of it. Delegate different people to help them out with that, and then roll up your sleeves on how you can get that implemented as well. But the part of the hustle is to move with intention, is to move with action. But here's the key step. When you find yourself getting tired, just like with the Navy SEALs, they say when you get tired, you still have 40% more of you that can do the job. You might be moving a couch up some stairs and you're like, I need to take a break. No, you still have 40% in you that is still able to go. So even if you feel like giving up, even if you think that you're about to take your last breath, keep going anyway. Keep going. It's that inner critic that we have in our heads, and it's thinking that it's protecting us, but it's really not. We want to be able to challenge ourselves and break the limit, shatter that glass ceiling. I want you to be prepared for anything, because once you can start taking on that extra 20%, then that extra 40%, that's going to get you the persistence that you need to persevere through any obstacles, any adversity, any hurdles. And even with your team, you being that role model for them, they'll say, hey, if they were able to continue going, now I know I can continue going too. Even though you feel like you're not able to breathe anymore, take a deep breath and still keep going. We need to keep going, because if you keep going, then you'll never quit. Quitting is not an option. We don't want that to even come across. And within the 21-day hustle challenge, we don't say don't. We don't say can't. I don't know. This is too hard. Once you start saying all those things, you've talked yourself out of it before you can even get yourself involved. So why are we doing that to ourselves? We want to be setting the trend towards where making the possible possible. Like I tell individuals, we're always able to see things twice, once in our mind and the second time in reality. And for us to be able to see that the second time, we cannot quit. I don't work with quitters. I know some people who feel like they do want to quit, and we have this love-hate relationship, but it's that challenge that builds them into who they need to be. What worked 2 weeks ago is just not even going to be relevant for now. And even what will work tomorrow, that's not going to work next year from now. So we have to be able to build up those skills. You have to get thick skin. You will hear no. You will hear yes. But you see some of the greatest leaders of all times that have had some of the greatest successes, they've probably heard no more than they probably are even aware of. You have to hear that no. Sometimes you hear 2,000 no's, but it's the 3 yeses that we get. And that's what's able to pivot us and propel us. Your story is somebody else's survival guide. So we need to be able to hear those things. But if you quit, no one has that guide anymore. Nobody has that chart to help them. Nobody knows what to do. Like I always tell individuals, if you are not clear about the vision, then that's almost equivalent to soldiers getting deployed into war and they don't know the mission. If the soldier doesn't know the mission, by the time they get deployed, they don't know if they're going left, if they're going right. They don't know what to do for their team. They don't know the objective. It's just soldiers just running around the battlefield at this point. And how does that work? It doesn't. So we need to be clear on what we are doing at all times. Move with hustle. Understand that big bang why on why we're doing what we're doing, because that's going to keep you going even when times get rough. Like I said, if being an entrepreneur was easy, everybody would be doing it. You probably wouldn't even have time to listen to this right now because you'd be working on your own business or you'd be helping somebody else with their business. So this is not an easy street. Easy street would have a traffic jam. There would be crowds of people on the sidewalk, but not everybody is able to have that persistence. People will take a couple of steps and then they'll say, it's not for me. How do you know it's not for you? You haven't even tried yet. So many times we let that inner critic talk us out of doing things. And I want for you to avoid that voice. Separate that voice from you because it's not you. Put a name to it towards where that voice is Roberta and you are somebody else. And that way we start to define those things that are us and what's not us. And we can eliminate those things that just do not serve us. We carry things around that are doing us an injustice. So during that 21-day hustle challenge, you really start to think about those moments that define you, about what's important and what's not important. Because when you're in hustle mode, you can only do a couple of things. Some things just have to fall by the wayside. Not saying it's not important, but it's not going to get us to our goal today. So I want to be able to challenge you to be mindful on the steps that you do take. You have people that are watching you. They're waiting for you. And like I said before, the business battlefield, it is absolutely brutal. So I want for you to be relevant. I want for you to be able to still have that skin in the game. It's of the utmost importance. All of the things that we all have talked about collectively are skills that will help you so that you will have that persistence. You will be able to say no. You will be able to take accountability for yourself. And also, too, I encourage everybody right now to get some type of accountability partner. That way, it's not just us relying on ourselves to do things. We all need help. The greatest leaders have all had some type of coach. Like they said before, Michael Jordan, he had a coach. Coaches have coaches. You have mentors who have mentors. You have guidance counselors that have guidance counselors. So it's not something that's foreign, but iron sharpens iron. So in order to refine your skill, your craft, you do want to have those things that are in place. So I know that I am just so happy. I have a book that's coming out on Amazon. It's called Influence Yourself in Life, in Leadership in Life. And what I talk about is I talk about equipping you with the skills so that you can become self-reliant. We don't always have time to call mom. We don't always have time to call our friends. We can't always pull people into the office after hours, but it takes for you to be disciplined within yourself so that you're anchored to win. And not anchored to win, but I want for people to lift up that anchor and to move into uncharted territory. I'm teaching people about the skills of absolute survival. This is a survival guide because I want you to be fearless. And in order to be fearless, you have to fear less. And that's a component of being persistent. You have got to move. We don't have time for fear because we have a mission. And on this mission, a lot of individuals, they come up missing on this mission because they're tired, they're weak, they're burnt out. Like I said, I don't want for that to be you. So definitely, if you are looking to have a call or a chat, definitely check me out on my website. You can do a discovery call, or just also too, just make it towards where you can just send me an email. Just say hi and give me a quick blurb about yourself. And then we can really go from there and just have a conversation. I don't sell people. I help people. I empower people, and I help people by helping them in real time. We all need just that little bit of leverage so that we are able to get that momentum. And once we start to get that momentum, then we can get more momentum. And that's really what it's all about. It's about creating that movement, not just for today, but for tomorrow. And it's important as leaders, entrepreneurs, that we're leaving that legacy. So thank you so much, JB.
My pleasure, Chantel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I would like to ask everybody who's watching at this point, who's ready to take a 21-day challenge? Huh? Who's ready? Let's make this thing happen, folks.
Yeah.
There's so much information, so much wisdom, so much experience that's sitting right in front of us right now. That, you know, if you take action on these elements, these offers, these opportunities, there's no telling you where you're going to end up. And remember, when we take action, it enables us to help other people, and that's what we're here for, right? So
Right.
thank you so much, Chantel. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
This has been a wonderful experience. And are there any final words that you'd like to say before we open it up?
Yeah, the final words is just to go out there and just get it together. Whether you have to turn your living room into an office, start putting that pen to pad, read all the notes, and start to implement. That's the best way to get going.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Chantel. So, you know, today, before we wind up, I just wanted to bring our speakers back a little bit and say, you know, this has been a wonderful experience. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy and your wisdom. But what I'd like to do is let's pretend just for a second. And I think this is going to be a really interesting opportunity for people to see you live and really implementing the things that you're talking about. So let's take Barney, for example. Barney is a person who he's been struggling for years and years trying to get to the next step in his life. And he's, let's call him in his mid 40s, and he's been doing things the same way all over all of his life, but hasn't been able to get to the next level. How would you talk to Barney to you know, give him that one or two things that really help Barney get to the next step? So, Dr. J, why don't we start with you? What would you do with Barney?
First of all, I would ask Barney, does he have a mentor, a coach, a teacher? Because one of my mentors used to tell me, son, if you ever want to be successful in anything, find someone who's done what you want to do and duplicate what they have done. So one of the things that you definitely want to do, Barney, is find someone that already experienced some of the things that you want to do, duplicate what they've done so you can get to the next level and think beyond. They'll push you to think beyond your thoughts.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. J. David, how about you?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. For me, what I'm talking to Barney about is I'm going to figure out where he is currently. I'm going to go right back to my GPS. You know, get clear on where he is. Make sure I know where he's starting from. Making sure I know exactly what's going on, because there's something that's holding him back. There's something that's keeping him from moving forward. There's something that he needs to address in his life that's going to allow him to launch forward. And so by just getting clear on where he is today and getting clear on where he wants to be, creating that tension between the two, you know, hey, here's where you are and here's where you want to be. Let's figure out that tension. Let's move you closer and closer to that goal. That's where I'm going to start with him. That's where I'm going to try to encourage him, because I want to get him clear and get him confident so that he can find his place and get his message out there.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, David. That's awesome. Pearl, welcome back.
Hey, welcome. Happy to be back.
So I know it's not your primary market, right? Talking with Barney, who's a mid-40s guy. But if Barney came to you at one of your events, what would you tell Barney?
Regarding, I missed the original question.
So Barney's been stuck. He's really been, you know, kind of doing something for the last 20 years and been unsatisfied. He's got an idea of where he wants to go, but he doesn't know how to start, doesn't know what to do. How would you address Barney and his issue?
Yeah, so first I would sit down with Barney and ask him what about the idea he loves, right? Mm-hmm. And figure out how can we start with that first thing, right?
Mhm.
And then we would talk about, how does he manage his schedule so that he can work on the things he loves while he still has to do this other thing he has to do, right? Like all of us, when we start a business, we don't always just, I'm going to open my business. Some of us start while we're still holding a 9-to-5, right? So how do you find a balance? And then, because for me, you have to have harmony in your life. So how do you find that balance? It's going to let you start enjoying what's that harmony that brings you harmony. What can you let go of and or delegate to somebody else? All the time, one of the big thing is, do I want to go send an email to my client? Do I want to spend time creating the emails? I know what I want it to say, but my value is more than like my admins, admin, right? So maybe there's something you can delegate out that's going to allow you more time to do the things you love. So I would start there. And then I'm a big meditator. So to bring him some more peace, and I do some meditation with him too.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thanks, Pearl. I love it.
Thank
Chantel,
you.
tell us, how would you deal with Barney?
A lot of people talk about filling out a SWOT analysis on their business. I would have Barney do a SWOT analysis on himself. Like, we need to talk about his strengths, his weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You've saying that he's been doing the same thing for years and nothing is happening. We need to know what's going on. We need to challenge him and break out of his shell for some of his weaknesses. We need to look at the opportunities and the threats, because this is what could be impacting him from moving forward. And when you do these type of analysis, you start to get things revealed very quickly. There's that clarity, and then we can move on. It's about identifying his blind spot, JB.
I love it. That's great. Well, listen, again, I really want to thank, first of all, if Barney's out there listening, and I know that there is a Barney listening right now, okay, take the opportunity, go back, watch what you've seen today. There's some excellent pieces of knowledge, wisdom, and offers that are here and open to you, that are special, that are from the heart and soul of these speakers that you've heard today. So please, please, please take the opportunity, go to their websites, take them up on their offers, because this may be your time. This may be the one piece of information that you need to have right now. So just take one little step. That's all it takes, one little step. And then let us help you. Let any one of the speakers help you be accountable to yourself, and to the people around you, because guess what? At the end of the day, our job, our responsibility is to help those and pay it forward to other people. That's why we are here as speakers. That's why we are here as coaches and mentors in business, to help others fulfill the dreams and the visions that they have. Because when we do that with other people, guess what? We're going to impact the world. And that's what Global Speakers Talk is all about. So I want to thank you, speakers, again for being here. Chantel, David, Dr. J, Pearl, and I know Coach Nigel's around. Thank you so much for being here. And as we come to the close of the power of persistence today, I want you to take a moment to reflect. We've heard these stories of resilience, wisdom, and transformation. Guess what? It is messy, it's unpredictable, and it's often filled with obstacles to test our resolve. But if it's one thing that we've learned today, persistence is the bridge between obstacles and breakthrough. At the very beginning, we talked about Colonel Sanders, and he was rejected thousands of times before somebody finally said yes. But he knew that persistence wasn't about just getting an immediate win. It's about refusing to quit until the right opportunity appears. And isn't that what life is? So now the question is, what will you do with this? Where in your life do you need to persist? What obstacles have you been letting hold you back? But more importantly, what's the next step you're going to take? Because if today's proved anything, it's that persistence isn't just a mindset, it's a decision to show up, a decision to keep going, push through, and create the success that is waiting for you on the other side. But the conversation doesn't stop here. Every month, right here at this time, Global Speakers Talk is going to bring together visionaries, leaders, and change makers from around the world to share their insights and challenges with you. So thank you today for our speakers for talking about persistence, who've shared their knowledge, wisdom, and experience. Mark your calendars for next month at this time. Every last Saturday of the month, there's a new topic. We're going to have a new set of incredible speakers. But I want to leave you with this one final thing. keep persisting, keep believing, and most importantly, keep moving forward.
That's right.
Thank you for being part of today's Power of Persistence. And until next time, keep going and keep growing. Take care.